A piranha attack, a white shark attacking a boat, a turtle attacking a man. Sit back and enjoy the craziest animal attacks you've ever seen. Mark McCracken is a construction worker who enjoys his greatest passion, fishing. He lives in California and used to go fishing off the ocean in Santa Barbara on his kayak. One day, the seasoned fisherman armed with his GoPro decided to go catch some fish for lunch. He got on his kayak, grabbed his fishing pole, and headed out to sea. At one point, a huge hammerhead shark, which had already spotted him for a few minutes, came after his kayak. Indeed, the animal had spotted the fisherman and made several circles around him before attacking the hull. Mark McCracken had to turn his head back twice to make sure it was a shark, so the great fishing enthusiast, who is surely not a fisherman anymore, grabbed his oar to hit his assailant several times. He had no other way to defend himself, but it took more than that to dissuade his predator, who continued to attack Mark until the boat was completely overturned. Mark McCracken then had to escape his pursuer by swimming as fast as possible to reach the shore. Behind him, the shark was also moving fast, trying to catch up with him. Once safely on shore, Mark watched his attacker for a long time, who continued to swim back and forth as if waiting for him to come back into the water. That day, Mark McCracken had one of the worst days of his life, to the point of regretting going fishing. Fortunately, I don't know how he managed to get out of there safe and sound. In fact, I'm willing to bet since that day, he hasn't used his fishing rod again. Off the coast of South Africa, a team of men were on board an inflatable boat. A group of shark lovers had come to do what they have always loved to do, observe their favorite marine animals at close range. Suddenly, when they were not expecting it at all, they came across a huge great white shark, considered to be one of the biggest predators of the marine world. They were surprised when the shark poked its head out, and even more surprised when it attacked their dinghy, biting it and trying to deflate it so that all the crew members would be in the water. That's how smart these beasts are. On the images, we can easily see the shark circling the boat, a preliminary gesture that lets us guess that the attack will come soon. And when it attacked the dinghy, the animal managed to tear it apart with its sharp teeth. The crew was fascinated by such a spectacle, but the men quickly swallowed their enthusiasm when they realized that the dinghy was deflating. Enthusiasm gave way to panic. The crew finally decided to flee. Despite the violence of the encounter, the men fortunately escaped unharmed. Brodie Moss is a young Australian, very much in love with wildlife. He's used to going on adventures to film wild animals in a country where big predators are never rare. In this video, Brodie was on the Tiwi Islands, an Australian archipelago located in the Timor Sea, 80 kilometers north of Darwin. He had planned that day to film the wild saltwater crocodiles. He then took his drone and started to film the sea at a very high altitude. That's when something incredible happened. A breathtaking altercation between two animals took place in front of his drone's camera. While a huge wild crocodile had approached the shoreline to catch fish and was just enjoying one, a huge bull shark approached him from behind and violently bit his tail. Taken by surprise, the large reptile began to struggle to get his assailant to let go. Brodie Moss knew that the bull shark couldn't attack a prey as heavy and as strong as it was, because it would risk its life. It was most certainly a mix-up. Either the shark mistook the crocodile's tail for another prey, or it wanted to steal the fish from its mouth. A third scenario, even less likely, is that the shark overestimated its power and really wanted to attack the crocodile. In any case, it took him very little time to give up his plan and go his way. Although this scene is absolutely crazy and unbelievable to admire, seeing it from very close must have been more terrifying for our adventurer. With this sequence, there is no doubt that he will have breathtaking images to show to his children who, I am sure, would not have wanted to witness the scene. In the Rio Tapajos River in Brazil, a sailor obviously used to fishing in the area was on board his kayak, accompanied by another fisherman friend. That day, he planned to bring back all his catch to sell at the market. The man had already managed to catch several fish in his kayak, but at one point, his rod managed to trap a piranha, one of the most dangerous fish species in the world, despite their small size. Proud of himself and his catch, he put the fish on the floor of the kayak, waiting to put it in the fish tank. But the fisherman didn't notice that he was barefoot and close to the fish. The piranha's frantic movements gradually brought it closer to the fisherman, and the fish, attracted by the smell of blood and spotting the fisherman's movements, bit the foot that was within its reach very violently. Our poor sailor suffered a very deep bite which cut his skin. Piranhas are known to be extremely aggressive and have a very powerful jaw with sharp, pointed teeth. I can tell you that even if he doesn't look like it, the poor fisherman was in a lot of pain. This is what's called hard work. Fortunately, the injury was not as serious as it looked. His friend had to grab the fish with tweezers, taking all the precautions in the world, and put it with his buddies in a covered tank. Next time, I'm sure he'll think of putting on his sandals. The beautiful young woman you see in this sequence, who is probably not so beautiful anymore, is a Chinese blogger, very famous in her country. She is known as Seaside Girl Little 7 and has the habit of tasting seafood platters while filming herself. One day, the blogger decides to move to a more interesting dish just to create a buzz and gain popularity at the same time. She turns on her camera live and in front of an audience. She decides to eat this time an octopus alive. Only once she took the octopus and brought it towards her mouth, the animal, having an instinct of survival like any other creature, started to attack the girl. To escape its fate, the octopus then stuck its suction cups on the face of the blogger. As the challenge progressed, the task became more and more complicated for her. Each time she tried to remove a suction cup, another one stuck and sucked her skin. So much so that she began to struggle to escape the pressure of the suction cups and completely forgot about her challenge. Her goal now was to get out of there as little disfigured as possible. The more time passed, the more panicked the girl became. At one point, she started crying because she was so scared and her face hurt. Once the octopus finally released its grip, Seaside Girl Little 7 realized that her face had been slashed. Finally, the crying young woman decided to put the octopus down and give up on her challenge. Frankly, it is to wonder which of the two is the most scatterbrained. A man was walking quietly in a forest when he crossed the path of a turtle. Not having the habit of crossing often, he decides to tease it a little to play with it. He then takes a small stick and starts to tickle its beak while filming himself with his phone. The turtle didn't seem to like the fact that she was being taken for a vulnerable and too nice animal and decided to rebel, which our friend was not ready for. While he was waving the stick on his beak, hoping for a small reaction from him, the turtle jumped violently on the man while he was more than a meter away from her and dropped the phone. This is nothing. The walker, shocked by what had just happened, got scared and ran away. He would have never thought that a turtle could jump and attack someone. Finally, it was perhaps not the same species of turtle that he had as a child in his garden. This one was most certainly a carnivorous turtle. It was lucky it didn't take his finger in the process. It is said that since then, this man has no confidence. It seems that he's even afraid of kittens now. Giraffes are quite calm and quiet animals by nature, but they also sometimes, like any other earthly creature, get into a fight. Except that the battle is not all the same for giraffes as other animals. In these pictures, two giraffes were grazing together on the same piece of land. Everything was going well until one of them decided to continue eating on her friend's territory. Ouch, faux pas. Indeed, although they are very nice, one should not abuse or disturb a giraffe eating. From there, a fight was born between the two animals. They started to fight, and since giraffes have a long neck, we're not teaching you anything, and they can't use their four legs as they wish, the only way for them to attack and defend themselves is to swing their whole upper body towards their rivals in order to destabilize them and hurt them. The two giraffes did not stop throwing themselves against each other until the fight ended with exhaustion. It was a rather monotonous fight, but nevertheless very spectacular. In the end, I don't know who won the battle, but what is sure is that they both had to end up with a big, stiff neck. Daniel Hurst is a 32-year-old Australian man. One day, he was standing on the beach in Torquay, Victoria, Australia, looking at the scenery to clear his head when he suddenly saw something incredible. A kangaroo came out of the bushes to take a dip in the water, but not a minute into his swim, a large white shark jumped out of the water and grabbed him violently in his jaws with sharp teeth. Daniel Hurst could not believe his eyes. He then went to tell the local newspapers about this incredible attack, but no one would believe him until other witnesses, who were also present at the same time, came forward to back him up in what he was saying. Mick Boucher, a former surfer, came forward to say that he had also witnessed the incident. He said he was about 200 meters from shore when the shark jumped out of the water. He could see its back on the surface, above the choppy waves, as he waited for the kangaroo to approach him. In the meantime, more evidence has emerged from the bottom of the water. Indeed, local council authorities confirmed that the day after the attack, they had discovered the mangled carcass of a kangaroo on the beach and buried it. Added to this, a photo by a journalist who was on board his kayak when he spotted, indeed, a kangaroo enjoying a nice afternoon in the water at the mouth of the River Ire, a few kilometers from the place where this unfortunate accident happened. Proof that kangaroos are used to going swimming in this region. Daniel Hurst witnessed a horrifying spectacle live, which must have been terrifying for him. Now that he has witnessed this spectacle, it is likely that he will never set foot in this river. So what do you think about these animal attacks? Impressive, isn't it? And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything of our next contents.